Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. A little bit of a couple of items I got on the good table at my dump, a few ways I displayed them, a few DIYs, and one furniture flip. So on that table were these two little wooden square signs that are cute, but just not for me. So I thought I will redo those. And then this sweet little cat that I'm not sure what I'll do with, but it's nice to have smalls sometimes in your display. I really like the way this little wooden whale sign has that hanger on top. A sweet little duck decoy that I'll definitely be redoing. It has a little chip on the tail and a little candle ring, which I thought looked really beautiful in this display that I have on my hutch right now. It went very well with the busted canvas, as well as that beautiful cup and saucer I got a week or two ago, also on the good table at the dump. Then a couple of these string spools, I guess. The large gold one I had done a couple of weeks ago for a pumpkin with the white floral. So I just put this one right beside it, and I put just a wood masher and a piece of floral in the side of it for now, just to add to that display. I'll probably do something in the future with that. I got a picnic basket. I took out the insert and threw that through the laundry, washed out the basket. I'm not sure if I'll make that over at some point, probably, but for now, I decided to stack it in my office on top of another one that I had with a smaller one on top. I like stacking picnic baskets. I just like the way that looks. And then I picked up these two sweet wooden boy and girl Amish dolls or figurines. And so I cleaned those up real good and decided they would be a really cute Thanksgiving maybe display. And they go so well in my kitchen that for now I just put them on the blue hutch that I have in there. And I think that looks really sweet. Also picked up some florals and just washed those out with some Dawn dish detergent in my sink and letting those dry out. And now on to my first DIY. I picked up when we were away this lead shot canvas, I guess, bag. I had never seen one before. I thought it was kind of neat and cost me $5, but I thought it was kind of a nice item to have. And I took this like hazelnut leftover trash and just folded down a couple of times the top of the bag, and then went into my pantry and pulled out lentils because nobody in my family likes lentils. Poured those in to weigh that down, and then I added some florals. Now I picked up this one bunch of florals, I think maybe on Temu for, I don't know, $2 or something, and I thought this was the perfect color to go with that graphic on the front of the bag. So I put that right in there, and then I just added, I got this whole bag of pomegranates for 99 cents while we were away, and I thought that it would be great to add one of these because the color tone is just perfect. And then I simply took some twine around the mouth of that and tied that little sack, and that was all she wrote. That's all I needed. And I think that it came out adorable. And I think it cost me $7 to make. And so I think it's a really great display for the fall with these beautiful colors. And here it is, something very simple, very easy to reproduce, but just a little bit of an impact, I think, with that lead shot bag. So let me know what you think about that. Now, I've had this spring wreath for years, and I love to take something from one season and recreate it for the next season as frugal as possible and just update it for the fall. You don't have to go out and buy a whole new one. You can pick up these picks for $1, and I just cut off a bunch of them and just stuck them in, going all in the same direction all the way around here and there on that wreath. I ended up using 3 or almost 3 of those picks. So for about $3, I took a very nice full green wreath and I went ahead and just added it. Now you could actually stop here and that would be nice if you wanted something just very basic, but I decided I had these little balls. Now I picked up these for 90% off. So these cost me, I don't know, 60 cents, I think. So, I just took these, cut off a few here and there, pushed, this is also, I just stuck all of this stuff right into the grapevine wreath directly so that I didn't use any glue and I can pull these out later on. So for another maybe $2, I went ahead and added the rest to fill that in. Then I hung it back on the wall just to see if I like it just like that. And so then I decided to show you a couple of different things that you could do with it if you didn't want it to be plain. Now, obviously, you can always add a bow. So I just kind of made a quick bow here. That's definitely not my style, but I know a lot of people prefer that. Then I took a bundle of these little spindles with yarn that I made a couple of weeks ago, stuck that in there, and then I kind of really like that look. And then I decided to take a little pumpkin that I made in the last pumpkin video that I did and tuck that in there because the colors were just perfect. And then in the end, I ended up just simply taking some of the yarn that I had made on that pumpkin and made my own simple bow to put on that. And I love that. Just simple, easy, taking something from spring to fall in an instant. And now that takes me on to my furniture flip. I got this absolutely adorable table, yes, for free at my dump. I can't believe the things that people just leave there. So this is one of those great tables that can go either as an oval or put the little flaps down there, and it can be just a really small table, which is perfect for my entryway. So I decided that I would go ahead and refinish this, get it out of my garage, get it up into my entryway, and why not show you what I did with it. I first sanded the entire thing with an 80 grit sandpaper, and then I went ahead with, I think, a 120 to finish that and smooth that off, and then cleaned that and put it out on my back deck so that I could go ahead and mix a custom color. Now, if you saw my thrift flip road trip video recently, I did a really small stool. This is the color that I mixed up for that table, and I am mixing here 3 chalk paints together that I happen to have in my stash. A light gray and a Neapolitan dark blue to get that blue color, and then add yellow to make it green. And so you don't have to sand the base of a table or whatever you're working on if you are going to use a chalk paint, which is why I have a tendency to use chalk paint, because I like to sand the top if I'm going to use a stain or a wax or something. But if I don't have to sand, I don't want to sand the entire piece, especially if I'm going to paint it. But I also have a tendency to like the look of raw wood, so I like to do a mix of both. So once I get this gorgeous green color, and I am going to insert here for you the little stool if you missed it in my last video, then I am going to paint just the base of this table in 2 coats, and I am not going to make you watch me do that. So here is that sweet little table sitting in the corner, the right corner of my entryway. And I actually made the stool after I did the table that I'm working on here for you now, because I had it tucked into the other side of my foyer that you don't see here. And now back to the deck. Whenever I have a spindle-like looking wood, I like to wet distress. I love the look of the wood showing through, and I love to antique wax over these colors, one to darken and enrichen them, but mostly to make them look vintage. This is a very beautiful green, but a dark wax is going to make it a vintage green that I absolutely love. I am going to want to pull back a little bit of the wood tone underneath anyway. So I'm just taking a wet cloth, and here and there I am just wiping away some of the chalk paint and getting that look that I love. And then I am going to go ahead and mix up some wax. Some people will wax it clear first and then add a dark wax over it after that. And sometimes I do that, especially for a smaller piece. When I'm working on a larger piece, I like to mix the two together. So I will do the I happen to have Annie Sloan's clear wax here, and I got that free at the table at the dump. I know somebody used a tiny, tiny bit of it, so now it's for me. And a little bit of the dark wax. So the dark wax goes a long way. This one happens to be Krylon, but I've used a number of other ones. This one can have a smell to it, so if you don't, if that offends you, you don't want to get that one. I don't happen to notice it on mine, but I've heard other people say that. Maybe I've had mine long enough, I don't know. But I am just going to go ahead and mix those two together, and then with a rag I am going to go ahead and apply that specifically to the areas that I distressed, and then I'm going to rub it off with the rag and sort of cover the rest of the green paint, because I love the vintage green that antiquing wax gives this green tone. So this color I think is absolutely spectacular, and I am so glad that I chose this because it looks so good in my entryway. Now for the top, I am going to do the same thing. Now I have a couple of areas on the top of this that I'm not sure will take the wax well, so we shall see. So I go ahead and with that rag and what's on the rest of my stirrer, I am going to apply the wax all around the whole entire top, especially around, the edges. You want to make sure that you get everything so that this will look uniform. Once I finished the entire top, there were a couple of areas. Now, probably once upon a time, something oily had been laid on this table, and when I sanded it, it just did not get enough of those spots deep enough for this wax to take. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to hand sand those spots and just reapply this. Now, once you get your top finished, you can determine the color. If it is too light, you can reapply. If it is too dark, you can just use a rag and wipe it back. If it's still too dark, you can use a little clear wax to sort of erase a little bit of it and pull back some of the dark wax. But here, I find for me, it's just a tad light, so I end up putting a second coat on this, which I think just is perfect for the look that I was going for. So here it is in all its glory in my entryway, and it is folded down for the space, which is perfect. But if I decide in future that I want to put it elsewhere, I love the fact that you can lift those sides up and make a really nice sized end table, or use it for the kids' table for Thanksgiving, or for my 2-year-old granddaughter if she wants to have her own little big girl meal. So it has a lot to offer for a free table on the side of the road or at the dump. I forget where I picked it up. And I am just so glad that I did rescue it. I cannot stand to think that someone would have just thrown it into the landfill. So I would love to know what you think about my video today. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. I have an amazing giveaway as soon as I hit 3,000, which is any time now. And I have a lot of great stuff coming your way. Thanks so much for stopping by. Take care.